Hello, I'm Aidan.
And I'm Josh. Welcome to Undead Ramblings, where we talk all things Call of Duty Zombies, amongst other games, movies, and other media.
This is episode 6 of our podcast, which we are recording on the 20th of February 2025. Last episode we discussed Shi no Numa, so feel free to go and check that out if you haven't seen it, as well as any previous episodes. I think they're all on a playlist on Josh's channel.
With exciting new thumbnails. They look leagues better than the
Yeah. We've got consistency now.
Like I said to you outside the podcast, I've been meaning to change those for ages. I was never quite happy with them, so making sure to get them up to date.
You do put a lot of work into them. I want to give a special thanks to Intelligent Guy, SGH Ghost 115, and the Caborium 115 for your comments on the Shi no Numa episode. It's really good to see your insights.
Absolutely.
Josh and I love community engagement, so more of that, please.
Yeah, like I say, we're all doing this for a discussion thing, so the more people that get involved, the better, really.
Absolutely.
Alright, so as far as channel updates go for this one, we don't really have a lot, honestly. It's more a reiteration of what I said last time. It's just a case of uploading the Liberty Falls and Terminus soundtrack once I find a way to do so, because as I've just said to you before we started, it's really obnoxious to do it the way we used to because of the the kick timer and all that sort of thing. So I'm probably going to be using still images for the background, but like you say, we'll see. I'll probably start working on it now that we've done this episode. So you can expect that in the near future.
You guys are here for the music.
Yeah, pretty much. But yeah, beyond that, all we have to talk about is actual zombies news for Black Ops 6. So apparently the Tomb directed mode is out now, as you've told me, because I haven't looked into this.
The patch note should be as of today of recording, although this goes out next week, so it should be already a week old by now. So
yeah,
as of the 20th, which is day of recording, the Tomb directed mode should be out today.
Right. Alright, so that's something to look forward to.
So, yeah, brand new calling card.
Oh yeah, the still image one. I was gonna say, I've got to say, this snuck up on us because I was not expecting directed mode this soon.
Really?
Yeah,
I suppose it makes sense.
I was hoping that
season 2.
I won't get into it because we're going to get into it later. But we had our problems with the boss fight, didn't we? We had a bit of a struggle with it. So this one was a lot closer than the previous ones have been. Trying to get that calling card before the window was up. But I'm just saying, I would have been disappointed if it had dropped now and we still hadn't done it without any fanfare. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get what you mean.
But it's neither here nor there, I suppose.
Mind you, you and I have been somewhat out of the loop in terms of zombies news anyway.
I know.
the Tomb itself came out of nowhere for us.
Ever since 115 Day, we've been kind of missing all the announcements and stuff. So for all I know, it's been announced beforehand.
Yeah, this will kind of go into a topic for later, but yeah, absolutely.
Aye. Well, moving on then. The next one we were going to talk about is there's a TMNT event, apparently. There's supposedly £80 for all skins, or dollars. I'm not exactly sure which one it was originally listed in, but
daylight robbery.
That is ludicrous. Honest to God.
It's like I said to you before we started recording, you are basically paying more for skins, more than what the actual base game costs, which is just wild.
The thing that's funny about it to me is that the characters are basically the same with different coloured headbands. They're the same model.
Neither Josh or I are kind of overly familiar with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, but it's genuinely crazy. And then you also mentioned that once again we're apparently going to have to pay an extra £10 for for an event pass.
Yes,
which is just
yeah.
nuts.
I've seen the pictures of the event pass, so I can almost confirm that it actually exists.
Oh my god.
I haven't seen pictures of the skins, but well, other than the trailer, I suppose. But God, it's unbelievable. Like I say, honestly, if you're wanting to buy any of them, I would just buy one. Just the one. Or
yeah, I mean,
if you want to set a principle on it, just don't buy any. But you know, I know that's easier said than done. I bought my fair share of skins on Black.
Yeah. We're not here to tell you what to do with your money. Like at the end of the day, it's your money. What you want to spend your money on is your choice. But in our humble opinions, this is just a step too far. And
it is, yeah.
Can I go on a rant here for a minute?
Yeah, go fire away.
So I'm hearing of like these publisher CEOs, I think it's like the Ubisoft one or maybe someone else, I can't remember who exactly, but they were saying like they want to they think it's now time that games should fall in line with the rise of inflation.
Oh boy.
And games should go
as if they
now
haven't
from
already.
70 exactly, and that like games should go from like at base level should go from £70 or £60-70 to up to £90 or £100, and that games aren't making at sale aren't making enough money. But then you throw in that they put in skins
exactly
that are like a combined £80. They don't take into consideration that all of these microtransactions, that if people buy them, far out exceed the cost of the game.
Exactly.
It's genuinely staggering.
Like you'd be able to buy the game probably a couple hundred times over with just the prices of cosmetics these days. It is ludicrous. It's like someone made a post on Reddit, and I'll include whoever it was if I can remember where I found it. It was a post about like looking back at the skins packs for Call of Duty Ghosts. It was like £2. £2 for a skin.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And now it's like 20 quid for a skin. It is ridiculous.
And the rest, like I think we looked at it the other day, like one of the ones that was like the Terminator one, it's like 3,000 COD points.
Exactly.
Now you need to either pay I can't remember exactly what it was, but you needed to pay like over 30 quid for like 5,000 COD points, or you'd have to get the 2,500 COD points, which is like 15 quid, and then another bit on top of that. You are basically paying more for the game than you originally paid for.
Exactly, yeah.
It's nuts.
Yeah.
And what makes it even worse is that like games like Call of Duty, these skins don't translate over to the next title. This is the real issue I have with like yearly releases. Like none of this stuff matters.
Yeah.
Like are the servers for Black Ops 3 up to like today's numbers? I don't think so. Like so these skins just don't matter. This
raises a point actually, because this is why I only buy skins for zombies. Because I know I can play it solo once people stop playing it. That's literally the only reason I get skins for zombies. And I have seen people also say
I bought
what's the point in getting it in a first-person shooter? But I don't know if a lot of these people know they have it as third-person. I've heard that complaint quite a lot.
Sorry, what was that?
I was saying I've heard a lot of people complain, why would you buy a skin in a first-person shooter? And I'm like, but it has third-person now. I actually think that a lot of people don't know that. You know what I mean?
What, that about buying a skin in the first person? Sorry, Discord was playing.
No, it's all good. No, I was saying I don't think a lot of people know the game has third person as an option. So I've seen a lot of people say, why would you buy a game, like a skin for a first person shooter? I'm like, but it's technically not. It's also a third person shooter.
But you actively need to go... Yeah, like you actively need to go into third person though. Like I personally play on first person, but I know that you like to dip between the two. But so it is a matter of preference. Like I mean, I bought skins. I bought the Replacer one, but comes a point where I just cannot justify like with these Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle ones.
Oh yeah,
I cannot afford to spend 80 quid for all 4 skins.
Exactly.
And an additional 10 quid for the event pass.
It's just beyond reasonable. It really is. Yeah, I think they've maybe just maybe overdone it just a little bit. Have you got anything more to add to that, or are you?
I'm thinking that we're gonna.
Okay. No. Go on.
I'm just my final thought is that I think we're gonna see a kind of it come to a head pretty soon. Like, people are getting sick of these shady practices.
I hope so. I like to think that by just ignoring them, other people are doing the same, but oftentimes it doesn't happen. Like I say, I just in closing, I guess, I'm more than happy for people to spend money how they want, even if I don't agree with it. You know what I mean? It's your money at the end of the day, but I think this one might be a bit too egregious. I would not go out and buy all 4. Not a chance.
Yeah. I mean, because it's back to that kind of old saying, vote with your wallet.
Absolutely, yeah. 100%. Alright, so beyond that, we also have a few patch notes that are coming out with is it the update today, you said? So we've got Amalgam Reeling damage has now been negated, and thank God for that, because I was ready to blow up about that today.
For the Amalgam.
There's nothing worse than being grabbed by an Amalgam and slapped to shit while you're being pulled in and unable to do anything. Especially, as we'll get to, the boss fight later on. With those sentinel enemies, if you want to call them that. That was... Ooh.
Yeah.
I got me killed once, because an Amalgam grabbed me, and then one of the boss ones hit me. And you know how it is. It's one hit and pretty much your curtains. It's ridiculous. So I'm glad that's been addressed, because it didn't used to be like that. I remember at launch when Terminus came out, they used to not attack you when you were reeled in. So that's something that's changed recently.
Yeah.
I think it's the Tomb. I don't think Citadel had it either. But I'd have to go back and check out footage for it.
What, the damage?
Yeah, the reeling damage. I don't think it was a thing on Citadel, but I could be wrong. Because I haven't played Terminus recently, so I don't know if... Yeah, I was going to say, I haven't searched Terminus or Citadel in a little while, so... I'd have to go back and validate it. But yeah, beyond that, Dark Flare has received another damage buff, so that's always good. If you end up using that one. Like I said to you, it's I'm glad that they're going out of their way to buff it, despite it being unpopular. I feel like a lot of the time, a lot of the norm is, if it's bad, we just leave it. People don't like it, so there's no point messing with it anymore. And I'm like, well, why not make it better? So I'm glad that they're actually turning around and being like, let's make this into something viable. Instead of just being like, nah, no one's using it. Let's kick it to the curb. Like a lot of the Wonder Weapons get that treatment, I find. If we go back to Citadel, for example, like the Fire Sword or something, it's still so much weaker than the other ones. But I would like to see it maybe get buffed up a little bit, And finally, you might have to go through this one a bit, because I'm not really sure how this one works. Boss fight stun reduction and less spawns for parties of 3 and 4. I can get the less spawns, obviously less enemies during the boss fight. It's the stun, did you say, when the screen goes red and you can't move? Yeah, okay. Just clearing that up. It's another buff for the boss fight. A lot of these are boss fight focused, which I'm sure you're about to find out why when we get to it. That's all we've got for zombies news. So. Sorry, you want to
just to touch on the Dark Flare one. Sorry, real quick. It's nice that it might make it more viable. We'll see.
They've already buffed it once, though, haven't they? Sure, they buffed it up to 25% or something, and now they buffed it again. But that's the thing, though.
We'll see.
The reason I don't use it is because, when you're using the laser form, you have to aim it, so you have to stand still because the running animation overrides where it's aiming. So you practically have to stand still to shoot with it, which just isn't viable in zombies, you know? I normally use the other version of it if I have to use it. The orb one.
You called it the laser pen, didn't you?
Yeah, exactly. I normally use the orb version that's kind of like the lightning staff charge attack from Origins. That one's a little bit better. I didn't quite mind that one. But again, it's basically just an attack thing. It doesn't really have any strategic use. So that's normally why I don't use it. Like Ether Shroud, you can use it, you can be strategic with it. You can be strategic with the energy turrets. You can be strategic with Tesla Coil by having all your mates come together and, strategizing that way. But with Dark Flare, you just can't do anything with it. You're like, oh, I'm doing something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't know. Maybe that's just me. Hopefully, if there's anyone here who uses Dark Flare, feel free to let me know, because I'd like to know how people use it. I'm genuinely curious. Alright, well, I think that covers all that then, unless you wanted to add anything else. Alright, if you want to take on the topics then.
Sure. So this episode we're going to cover the tomb. We've decided to go from our initial thoughts to actually just saying this is our thoughts, like this is our, like we're giving it a proper kind of overview now.
Yeah.
Because these videos do get pretty long.
They do, yeah.
Yeah. So now that it's been out for a couple of weeks, the topics for this episode will cover our thoughts on the map, mechanics of gameplay and map design. We're going to go over the cast, Easter egg, soundtrack, and then other, and that's going to be really discussing the mode itself, like the state of the mode itself, I think.
Yeah, exactly. Just like general stuff.
Absolutely. So, Josh, kick us off with your thoughts on the map.
Alright, so the tomb. It's been a bit of a controversial one, hasn't it? I'm trying to think of a way to phrase it. I'm not overly in love with it, but I don't hate it. You know what I mean? I'll put it this way. It's definitely the most mid-map we've had so far. But I'm going to try and put a positive spin on it and be like, it does quite a lot of things that I like. I like the return of like the ice staff. I think the layout is quite fun. It's very, it's kind of basic, but it's fun enough for what it is. And it's kind of nice seeing the mimics again and hearing, like, especially like hearing the Origins soundtrack again. That was always quite fun to hear again. I wasn't expecting them to include the Origins soundtrack. I didn't think they were going to go that far, but I'm glad they did.
Yeah.
It can be a bit spammy later on with bosses. There's quite a lot of enemies spawning in all the time. It's got that Revelations feel, doesn't it? Where you've got your mimics, you've got your zombies, you've got your vermin, you've got your parasites, you've got your amalgams, you've got your doppelgangers. How many enemies is that? That's like 7 enemies. Something like that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm surprised the manglers are missing again.
Exactly, yeah. So it can be a bit of a handful at times, but I suppose it's the map with the return of the ice staff. Arguably the best one in Origins, so I guess it's, the difficulty meets what they've offered you, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, overall, I'm a little mixed on this one. I enjoy playing it casually, but I can't say I enjoy playing it casually more than the previous maps that we've had in Black Ops 6. It's definitely been the weakest offering so far, but I want to make this very clear, I don't hate it. I know a lot of people are talking smack about it and how bad it is, but I genuinely don't think it's that bad. It's just average. I think that's probably the best word for it. It's just average.
Yeah. I'd agree with that. I think I said to you a few days ago that it's just par. I think it's definitely the weakest outgoing on this game.
Yeah, for sure.
And in terms of yeah, in terms of maps in general, I think it is very just par. It's not terrible.
Yeah.
It's not great, though.
It does feel like it's one of those that maybe could have done with another month or two of development. That's kind of what it feels like. I feel like this, if it had come out mid-season like the last one did, it might have been in a bit more of a polished state, because I have run into a few bugs with it, like here and there. Not too many. Like, definitely not as many as we used to get. Like with Black Ops 2 Origins, for example. I know, a very fitting, a very fitting comparison given what we're talking about. But the Black Ops 2 version of Origins was totally busted from head to toe. And this isn't that. It's not quite as, busted as that. But I have run into a few bugs with it here and there, whereas in the previous maps, I don't really think we ran into anything, did we? Nothing of note.
No, nothing obnoxious anyway.
The worst I could think of is the Patient 13 fight where you'd be knocked out of the bounds of the map. That's like the worst I could think of off the top of my head.
That was funny though. Like, you could laugh with that one.
That's true, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it does lack the polish of Citadel and Terminus.
Yeah.
I'd say it feels like a bit more of an advanced version of Liberty Falls, which I think when we were going, like, in our previous episode, we were saying that it was on the similar size to Liberty Falls. So it does fall into that line, but
yeah.
I just think, yeah, it does lack that kind of polish, and I do wonder if things behind the scenes kind of had a impact on that.
That is actually
certainly
absolutely what it feels like, doesn't it? Like, it's all this stuff with the voice actors, and that has caused a big issue with this one, and everything's a bit behind.
Absolutely.
So
absolutely.
Go on.
just real quick, just to, like, I think I sent this picture to you, but it was when it was on Call of Duty's like YouTube community post, and they showed a picture of like these Terminators and saying like gather up your squad to terminate people. Yeah. And like one of the comments was like, I didn't know you were putting your voice actors into the game.
Nice.
Absolutely cracked me up, that did.
Yeah, it was quality, wasn't it?
Oh, so good, so good. But yeah, I think that's our general thoughts on the map, is that it's not terrible. Like, it's definitely not the worst the worst outgoing we've had.
I wouldn't even say it's bad.
But it's not great either.
It's just there.
It's mid.
Yeah.
It's exactly as you said. It's the most mid map that you could think of, really.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, visually, and I guess we'll kind of go into mechanics, gameplay, and map design here. I think visually it looks really good. It certainly looks better than Liberty Falls.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So I'll give it that.
Like, the Dark Ether portion of it is gorgeous. I love it.
I really love the new, I know that it was in Modern Warfare Zombies, but I really love the new sky that they've got skybox that they've got going for it now.
Oh, yeah. Is this in the Dark Ether, this one, or?
Aye.
I'll have to have another look. Is it a reference to Origins? Because like you said, there was those theories that it's the mound, isn't it? I don't know if that was ever confirmed.
Yeah. I heard people saying like the general layout of the Dark Ether portion looks like has similarities to the mound. Like, it's got the 4 pillars that the mound has.
Yeah.
But when I was talking about the skybox, I know that it's the same Dark Ether skybox that's used in Modern Warfare Zombies.
All right,
instead of like the generic purple sky in
Cold War. They did love that.
It's a lot more stylized now.
I personally love that aspect. Oh, sorry, you go.
No, you can.
I was just saying, I personally love that aspect that, like the visual design for the Dark Ether across all the games, and I wish it was featured more, because it's one of the most intriguing parts for me is going into the Dark Ether. Like, I remember during Cold War, I was like, I mean, I know we'll get to it eventually, but I was like, I don't care about this conflict between the Russians and the Americans. I'm like, I just want to see stuff from the Dark Ether. That's what I'm here for.
Mm-hmm.
But they kept pushing that narrative, and I was just like,
yeah, it's nice to see that we're getting more of that, like, bleeding through and being able to actually visit the Dark Ether, like, properly.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah. What was it you were saying? Sorry, before I cut you off.
Oh, I was just gonna say, like, I like that there are just, like, two distinct sides to the map, like you've got the ruins on one side and the Dark Ether on the other side, and I think both of them, as I said before, like, visually, I'd say both of them are really well
designed.
realized.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I think you and I made comparisons to the ruins side, looking quite like Ancient Evil.
The whole map does, like the whole left side, like the Greek Roman looking thing, looks really Ancient Evil. I love it. I love the aesthetic for the Chaos story.
Yeah.
I know, spoilers. When we get there. But no, I'm loving the Chaos influence in this game so far.
I think I would have liked to seen a bit more, like, the Chaos stuff, like, just in general for the map, outside of the Sentinel artifact.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh, just to, again, caveat, for those who haven't completed it, again, as always, this is going to contain spoilers for the Easter egg.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Though I don't think we've said anything that's spoilery yet.
I don't think so.
But, yeah, but, like, outside of the actual... I know that there are audio logs around that probably go into it more, but outside, like, visually, outside of the Sentinel artifact itself, there's not really a lot going on with the Chaos stuff.
Yeah,
I think I would have liked to have seen, like, maybe, like, prima materia jars and that kind of the stuff that they used, like the visuals that they used for that. In this map,
like Voyage of Despair with the
like the dark kind of gooey
wall.
kind of.
Yeah,
exactly. So I think that would have been nice to have seen more of that, but I can't complain visually on the look of the map.
Yeah, me neither, honestly. I really love the aesthetic of it, like especially like the caves that we have like in the subterranean area. I always get like megalophobia from those. Ooh, gives me the creeps.
Yeah.
Like, have you seen it during the Vermin round?
Yeah.
Where like all the fog has filled them up. It's ooh.
Don't you find the fog is really bright in this game?
It is, yeah.
Or in this map, I should say.
Yeah, it absolutely is. Like you say, like the distance of it as well, it renders out weirdly. It's strange. It makes everything look a lot darker than it is.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that pretty much covers our thoughts on the atmosphere and that.
Yeah. Do you want to move on to... So we've got the return of the Ice Staff in this game.
An absolute classic. Like, I've always been given the wrong impression with the Ice Staff. I did not like it at all during the peak of Origins. Because I just... I always used it like the Lightning Staff, which was my favourite. And I'd constantly try and fire it single shot and wonder why I'm constantly getting stuck. And I will say, even now, the single fire is still rubbish. I don't care what anyone says about the Ice Staff. The single fire is rubbish.
Yeah.
It's only good against the Panzer in Origins, and that's it. But to be fair,
I mean,
sorry, I was just going to quickly say that it doesn't even have the benefit of being good against bosses in this game. It's really weak on bosses as well.
Yeah, I don't know which is better, to be honest, the one from like Origins or this one. I mean, this is my favourite staff, and many other people's.
Absolutely, yeah.
So I was happy to see it come back, but it does pale a little bit in comparison in that it doesn't do much damage against bosses. Well, I'd say that, to be fair, like in general gameplay, it's okay against bosses.
Yeah.
In the boss fight, I would argue it's next to useless.
Oh yeah, the second half of the boss fight, it's only good for slowing them down and nothing else. But it is a crazy amount of fun to use, like the original version. It is so much fun to play around with. I love the charge shot is still fantastic. Like I said, I played a bit of Origins recently, and the difference it makes, like I don't remember if it's something we talked about already or if it's something we're going to get to eventually. It's like the I'm sure, I did mention actually the boss spam. It's like like Origins, obviously aside from the Panzer, doesn't have any bosses, so the ice staff is so much easier to cut through the rounds with. But with this one, because you've got the doppelgas, the mimics, all the amalgams, all the other stuff, it can be a bit of a pain to use on its own. But you know, I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. It gives the map a bit more challenge, I suppose, rather than just letting you sit in the corner.
Yeah. I think my only gripe with the actual staff itself is, I mean, initially I wasn't huge on the building and upgrading process, but now that I've done it a few times, it's actually pretty simple. But my only gripe with it is, and I think I told you about this, is that in first person, when you're doing the charge shot, unlike Origins, there's no indicator to show that it's ready to fire. So I've often had times where I've fired a single shot when I've meant to do a charge shot.
Exactly, yeah, because in the original, if you haven't played it, it used to have 3 lights that would light up as you charged up, and once it was full, you'd be able to fire. But with this one, there's no such thing. It just spins instead, doesn't it? Instead of lighting up.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it can be a bit annoying to get a read on, because sometimes you'll let go of the trigger and find out that you fired a regular shot, which I remember being a similar problem in Citadel. They weren't very clear on when you charged those swords either. It seems to be a bit of a problem with Black Ops 6 Wonder Weapons.
Yeah, there was an audio cue, but that was at best. I mean, at least with the beam smasher and the jet gun, their alternate fires were they were pretty obvious.
Yeah,
and you didn't need to do a charge up shot for that. But the swords and the ice staff do suffer from a bit of lack of information.
Absolutely.
Effectively use them.
I mean, they're still perfectly usable. I mean, as long as you count I think it's 3 seconds, is it? I'm assuming that based on the original 3 lights, I'm assuming it's 3 seconds. I'm gonna guess it's 3 seconds.
Yeah, probably. Wouldn't surprise me. Do you think I mean, I know obviously the ice staff was intentional to bring in, but do you think they meant to, there was an idea to have all the other 3 staffs in, or do you think it was always the plan to just have the one?
It's hard to say, really. I don't know. It feels like the map is balanced for 1. I couldn't imagine it with 4. Origins has, this grandiose feel that feels like it would actually go with all 4 of them, but the Tomb, I don't think it would. I don't know, I feel like the Tomb is comfortable with 1. Not saying that I wouldn't have liked another one, though. Like I said, Lightning's my personal favourite. So I'd have been fine getting that, but... we'll see.
Yeah, I'm inclined to agree with you on that, and also, there was another bit I was going to talk about with that. Is that okay? What was I going to say?
Is it the upgrade process or something like that?
No, it was along the lines of whether they meant to just have 1 staff or more staffs, and I think I agree with you. The map doesn't really feel like it's big enough to house more staff.
Yeah. It's definitely a bit of a more basic one, isn't it, compared to the last main ones we've had, Terminus and Citadel. But like I say, it's just a lot of fun to use, as it's always been.
Yeah, I mean, everyone loves an Origin staff, so can't complain.
Yeah.
I think maybe what I would have liked is that the option, you do always only get 1 staff, but maybe the option to build a different staff.
Oh yeah.
Instead of you could do a different quest to just build the fire staff, or a different one just to build the electric staff.
Or what about
you still only,
like you say, kind of an upgrade process for 1? If that's kind of what you're getting at.
Yeah. You still end up with 1 staff, but you could choose which one you wanted.
A different firing mode sort of thing instead of the.
Exactly. And I remember what I was going to say now. I also think that it was intentional just to have 1 staff, because this would be the second map to have 4 wonder weapons, just off the back of Citadel. So
True.
I think it would be a bit wonder weapon spam.
Yeah, that's fair. To be fair, though, most of the maps with 4 wonder weapons are the most beloved ones. So
Oh, I agree.
I mean, it wouldn't be the worst criticism to have. It's got too many wonder weapons. I'd take it.
Speaking of too many things, bosses, like,
Oh,
this is turning into an Exo Zombies level game now with the amount of boss.
It really is.
Boss and alternate zombie spam.
I just don't know how someone looked at it and said, right, we're going to bring the doppelgasts back, we're going to bring the amalgams back, we've got the parasites back, and the vermin. It needs something else. It needs a pinch of something else to make it even more obnoxious. Let's throw in mimics.
Yeah. I think we could definitely just I would have rather had a more buffed out mimic instead of the amalgam.
Yeah.
And so it's just the mimic and the doppelcast, but yeah, it's just verging on a bit too much boss spam now.
Absolutely. Like, it's funny because I remember when our Citadel video we talked about how Citadel felt a bit too busy with the amalgam in it, and this map has just gone and added even more on top of what we were already saying.
I think, is it just the amalgam? Is that the issue with these bosses? Is that, like, the amalgam is just not necessary?
I don't know. It's... Like, honestly, I think in this map, it might not have fit thematically, but I think I'd have honestly preferred the Abomination instead. Because it's just... I feel like it would suit the flow of this map better. Considering it's all very long range, you know, but... I don't know, it's just the more times the amalgam appears, the more I find myself disliking it. Every time it's appeared, I'm like, God, I'm starting to like this boss even less each time, because I just don't like the grapple attack. I hate being pulled out of the action for like 5 seconds to watch an animation, and he does it over and over and over and over again. And as we mentioned with the patch, they've changed it now, so you don't take damage, whereas you did before when you got grabbed. So you'd basically be a punching bag for 10 seconds while he grabbed onto you, so you had to sit and watch yourself get clubbed. You know what I mean? Yeah, I
mean, God forbid when there's like 2 of them or 3 of them and they're all kind of grappling you one after the other. Then combine that with like the poxy on Terminus, the poxy manglers like firing you into a different one.
Oh yeah, like I know it's off topic, but like the mangler when you use PhD slider, but you get shot and it pushes you right into the horde.
Yeah, I think I would like the manglers to just have a little, or like a health nerf.
I think they did, didn't they?
Did they?
Yeah, I'm sure
They're
they
still
did. Yeah.
Just a bit too spongy.
Yeah, especially on later rounds. Yeah, like I said, just go back to amalgams real quick. I don't know. I would be very happy if they weren't in the next map. I think we just need a bit of a break from them.
Yeah.
They're kind of the main reason I play Liberty Falls, like on top of it being an easy map to grind camos on. But they're kind of one of the main reasons I only really play that when I'm leveling, because I'm like, I don't have to deal with amalgams.
Yeah, exactly. I'd also like to see vermin and parasites take a little break as well. Have a different kind of pest enemy.
Yeah, like even big like dogs or something. If they really need to.
I'm low-key missing the plague hounds.
Oh yeah, the plague hounds would be a pretty good fit. I'm trying to think if there's any more in Cold War.
Just hellhounds and plague hounds, really, weren't it?
Oh, I think so, yeah. I'm thinking of the spiders, but that's Etsubo.
Yep.
But yeah, so I guess overall it's just a case of way too many bosses.
Yeah, it's like you said earlier, it's almost like Revelations again, but I think with Revelations you had like OP stuff like to deal with them, like the Thunder Gun and the
yeah, exactly,
the Apothecon Servant. So with this it's kind of a hit or miss depending on which wonder weapon you've got.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you reckon I know we'll get into it soon, but do you reckon like the reason that we have so many boss enemies in this is because of the boss fight and how it works?
Wouldn't surprise me. I think it's more for calling cards and challenges, to be honest with you.
That's understandable, yeah. But again, like you said, I'm sure you can get primarily all of them in Liberty Falls already.
Yeah.
Liberty Falls
exactly.
is kind of like 9 for Black Ops 6. It's just got everything.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you're ready to move on from that.
Absolutely. So we've got the return of Death Perception.
Oh boy.
Which you forgot was even put into this update.
Yeah, until I read the document that Aiden put together, I completely forgot that Death Perception was even added. That's it doesn't do a whole lot. Normally we'd have a list of all the augments and that, but I honestly couldn't tell you any of them off the top of my head. I know one of them gives you slightly extra loot, apparently. Like, slightly extra loot.
To be honest, the augments aren't all that great either. Like, the perk is just not as good as it used to be.
And it's not really like... I remember us saying, it's like, it's very hard to see. The effect of the zombie, like, halo through the walls is, like, very vague and kind of hard to see at times. So it almost doesn't even function on a base level. Like, I think it needs a buff, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. The only use I've found for it is to get the free ray gun Easter egg.
Yeah,
that's the only use.
That's literally what they created
Otherwise,
it for.
I wouldn't pick it up.
So that's literally what they created it for. I'm convinced. It's just a shame because I remember they added Death Perception in Cold War, and the Cold War version is actually pretty decent. But this version of it is... Like, go on. What you said?
I was going to say, I think the Cold War one really shines in Outbreak.
It does, yeah.
I don't think I'd necessarily pick it up in the map in general until later.
True.
But when you got like a mode like Outbreak, which is, for all intents and purposes, a scavenger kind of mode, it works, but with this... Yeah, this, like you're saying, like this game just really it suffers, and I think it suffers as well in Modern Warfare Zombies as well. Yeah,
that's fair. I think one of the big augments from Cold War that I wish made it over was the double salvage one. The one that gave you like extra salvage when you picked it up. I thought that one was a really good augment, and then I'm kind of disappointed that one didn't make the cut this time. But I kind of get it because
I agree.
They've rebalanced it now, haven't they? Because people complained that getting salvage in the originals was too easy. I don't know. It's I personally would add that augment back. But yeah, I think they probably could have done a bit better with it. It's not the best one we've had so far. Full Trade was way better of an addition. Just think, for every Death Perception, there's no double tap.
We live in hope. We live in hope.
Yeah, it's like... We should probably do this, actually, once the season's finished and all the perks are out. Should probably, like, make a tier list sort of thing of, like, what order you buy the perks in. Because I can tell you now, Death Perception and Melee Macchiato are my last two. Every time.
Oh, yeah.
In fact, I don't even buy Melee Macchiato on the team. I consider it a total waste of money and just don't bother.
Yeah, I think Melee Macchiato had its time to shine in Citadel.
Oh yeah, it was useful in Citadel for sure. And I mean, it's useful if you're leveling melee weapons for the camo grind, but beyond that, no real point in it. You just don't really use melee in zombies, it's too risky half the time.
Yeah.
I mean, they've done, like, I'll give them that. They've put some work in to make them more viable, like, there's faster melees and stuff like that. So they're certainly not untenable to use melee weapons, but it's if you're gonna pick between a knife or a gun, you're probably gonna pick the gun.
Well, I mean, it's in the genre, isn't it?
Exactly.
First-person shooter.
Exactly.
First-person sniper.
But yeah, just a little bit underwhelming. Like I say, I'm really trying not to spin this whole thing negatively because I don't.
No, but.
Oh, go on.
I was just gonna say, like, yeah, like we're not trying to be negative, but I think this map is not the strongest.
Yeah, the strongest offering. So
It does shine in some areas, like the visuals and the ice stuff, but like, there are other areas where it's just like... I mean, to be fair, depth perception is not just an exclusive to this map, but...
Yeah.
Yeah. It does... The whole kind of... It does feel a little bit rushed.
Yeah, for sure.
This offering.
Yeah, I'm really hoping that the next one, whatever the next map is they take a bit more time with it and they're not as on the back foot with it.
Mm-hmm.
It feels like you say, this one was released under pressure.
Yeah.
I feel like we're going into like closing thoughts here, so probably come back to that.
yeah, we will do. Let's move on to cast. What do you think of our new character, Sir Archibald Fotherington Smythe?
Do you even need to ask? I don't know if it's because I'm British, but I just... this guy is exhausting. Every time he speaks, he makes my bloody... he gives me like a twitch every time he speaks. I don't know, he's just... I know that, zombies is filled with stereotypes, and this isn't a case of, oh, it's a stereotype of my country, so it's suddenly not funny anymore. I just generally find him annoying.
Mm-hmm.
He just talks all the time, and he always shouts. He's always shouting at ear-piercing volume. And I'm like, stop.
He's so loud.
And I don't find him particularly funny either. He's just kind of there.
No.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of him, I've got to be honest.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, like, there's been multiple times where I've been trying to chat to you, like, while we're playing the game.
Yes,
and trying to get things organised, and he's just yammering on, and my brain just shuts down because I'm like, this guy is just audible pollution right now.
Audible pollution, I love that term. We have to call him audible pollution in every future episode.
But he is though, like you just don't know what to do when he's like yammering. To be honest with you, I can't tell you anything about him.
Nor can I.
I put in brackets, but Josh and I agree that the only thing we took away from this character is that he goes, "Mother." That's it. That is it.
His most iconic quote.
Absolutely. I know that I haven't gone through the intel system much in this, but he's probably a bit more fleshed out in this, but what is delivered to you on the tin straight out of the gate, you just don't know. I don't know, at least.
Yeah, no, I totally agree.
I found it hilarious that in our last game, you told me that you just realised that he was in the Poxy amulet. That's what his background was.
Yeah, I had no idea. It just looked at the back and I was like, isn't that the amulet that we're carrying around? And I was like, honestly, if that were me, I would be throwing that amulet in the bin. Getting rid of that. No, it's just... It's just overdone. Like I say, if we were going to go for the cliche British archaeologist, I wish they'd just redone a Brock and Gary from Shangri-La. They were stereotypical beyond belief, but they were at least... They didn't scream constantly and... Ugh. I don't know. It just... he just doesn't do it for me.
And he goes like... He says things like, "Potts, get me this thing," and I'm like, who the fuck is Potts?
And like I said, that's another funny thing actually, because I was like, who is Potts? And you're like, oh, he's that skeleton outside the thing. I'm like, oh, is he? I picked it up and totally forgot about it immediately after. Like you say, I need to go through this intel. I went through and listened to some of them from the team, but I only went for the Richtofen ones. If that tells you how I felt about him. I totally ignored his intel and went straight for the director ones.
Yeah.
Because let's be honest, I suppose in fairness, and thank God that's the case, he's not going to have any bearing on any future maps.
Yeah, so, I mean, hopefully this is the last we hear of the Poxy bastard.
Yes, a bit of a miss on that one.
Yeah, just a little one.
Like, I had a feeling...
Mother.
I had a feeling when I saw his name in the marketing material. It was so over the top. I was like, I would not be surprised if this guy's just a walking stereotype. And yeah, that's exactly what we got.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, so do you want to move on to brighter pastures or greener pastures, I guess?
I say this. I wanted to. I put this in our document that we're going through. I wanted to discuss our thoughts on the Terminus cast at this point in the game. Now that we're like we've got 2 maps in with them now. I just wondered, kind of. I'm assuming we're going to get 2 more maps, but who knows? I just wondered what your thoughts on them were in general now.
On the Terminus cast?
Yeah,
they're still alright. I don't really think there's been, not like much of a change between this map and the last one. They've got some fun quotes in game. I've only, again, as it's always been, I've normally been playing as Grey, so I haven't really heard a lot of the other quotes. Maya's got a few good ones. I thought Maya was pretty good in this map. Are we covering Easter egg stuff here, or are we waiting for it?
We can mention bits of it if you want, if it's relevant to the actual cast.
Well, I suppose it kind of is. The ending has no dialogue for our characters at all.
Oh,
which is a bit bizarre, a bit odd. So. Again, the reasons are obvious, but it's still a shame because it just makes it look a bit stiff in that outro cutscene. Thankfully, Sam's actor was there to save the day.
Save the day. Air quotes.
Air quotes. Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. Like I say, I haven't played as them enough as a cohesive whole. I've only really played either when we played together with just 2 others, or with randoms on occasion. And obviously, when you're playing with randoms, you don't get all 4 characters because people are often playing as whoever and whenever. So
yeah.
It's hard to get the exchanges. I kind of wish we had bots like Black Ops 4, so we could hear the full-on exchanges without having to play online.
That was a good feature. I remember that one.
It was, yeah. I mean, they weren't the smartest, but to be honest, they did the job. They barely went down as well. I know they were cheating, they would get slapped into a corner, but they wouldn't go down. So they were totally cheating.
Hacks.
I'll take it, better that than reviving them every 5 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, voice acting issues aside, I mean, Maya is my favourite of the new cast, or the current cast. But I don't know, just something just doesn't feel like it connects like it did with the previous casts. Even when we had just one-off celebrity performances, something just doesn't connect with me compared to the previous crews that we've had.
You think it would as well, because we have all the the history with Cold War, and that should tie us to these characters because we've been through what they've been through before.
Yeah, I mean,
secondhand, but
I think. I don't know. A part of me feels like it's just the multiplayerization of zombies. Feels like it's had an impact. Like the cast still feel like operators to me. The only time I have actually felt somewhat of a connection to the characters was during Maya's Easter egg in Citadel. But just the multiplayerization of zombies, the HUD, and the fact that they just feel like operators, not like our crew.
Yeah, I think having them in the ending cutscene does help humanize them a little bit, seeing them actually in cutscenes. But I do get your point. When you're playing them in game, it doesn't. You just take their quotes and quickly forget about them. Oftentimes. Absolutely.
I mean, I couldn't tell you any quote from in any of these maps that our cast have said that I remember off the top of my head. But if you told me like what's one of Richthofen's lines in Kino or in Shangri-La, I can tell you off the top of my head. There's just a little bit of a lack of memorability for these characters, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. I'm not entirely sure what they could do to address it in future maps. Carver especially, he's definitely the weakest so far. And, like, he's had barely any dialogue at all outside.
He's had, like, all of, 5 lines?
Exactly, yeah. Like, I don't even know how many of his quotes are actually narrative-focused. I'd have to play through an Easter egg and see if he says anything about it, because I genuinely have no idea if he quotes Easter eggs and stuff. I'm assuming he is.
And, I mean, like, outside of them, we've got, like, the other characters, like, Peck, who was non-existent in this map, and Ravenov, non-existent in this map, and Raptor 1, who was non-existent in this map, and Strauss, who, guess what? Was non-existent in this map. Aside from, like, it just feels like Sam is taking on a lot of the heavy lifting on the dialogue, which...
Absolutely, yeah. She's definitely carrying the team so far.
Which, I mean, I know I'm speaking outside of the voice actor issues right now, but bringing that into the fold when you've taken out someone who's talented as Julie, and no offense to this new voice actor, but they're just not as good, in my opinion. And I think the whole thing just shows that it feels like it's having an impact on the cast in the story as well.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. Like you say, no disrespect to the new actor. I think they've done a decent job and taking up, an established character like halfway through like that. But like you say, they're definitely not Julie. But it was always going to be a tough thing to replace because, like I said, it's a character who we've known for over a decade, if not nearly 2 decades at this point. I mean, any new crew is going to have a uphill battle because they're not Ultimus or they're not Primus. Like they're going to have an uphill battle no matter what. But I think these ones, this crew is definitely the weaker of the bunch. Yeah, for sure. Like, I know people had their issues with the Chaos crew, but I'd say even they were kind of stronger. I know what you're saying. There's definitely, like you said, that operator feel that they have where you can't quite connect with them as much. But hopefully that'll, as things like, because as far as the Easter eggs and that have gone so far, we haven't really done too much, really, in the grand scheme of things. Maybe if Sam actually does show up in the next map with the Sentinel artifact, we might get some more humanization out of them. But,
I mean, this is their first game. Like, we'll see if they come back at all. I mean, if Modern Warfare Zombies is anything to go by, it's not looking good.
Exactly. Yeah. Spoiler warning. So I guess with that in mind, I suppose you may not have to worry about it for too long.
I know. It's just, but this was like my issue with these guys coming back as a crew initially. I think I told you way back in the day. Like, there's absolutely no reason to get invested in these characters now because we know, as of Modern Warfare Zombies intro cutscene, we know how they're going to end up. Like, what is the point?
Yeah, no, I totally agree. Unless, like you say, they're going to find a way to retcon it or something. But I guess we'll have to wait and see for that one. Yeah,
we will. Do you want to move on to Easter eggs, both main and side ones?
Yeah, let's do it.
Cool. I'll let you take.
Do you want to kick off? Oh, okay. Because I'm worried I'm going to go off on a tirade because we've
go for it. You do you.
I'm going to try and keep it civil. I'm going to try and dial it back. But
you've attempted the Easter egg more than I have. Let's just say that.
It's not my favourite one. To be more accurate, the boss fight is not my favourite one. But I like the Easter egg. I think the Easter egg itself is pretty enjoyable. I do, like I said, like the lead up to it. I like the 4 trials we have to do with the different boss types after getting the ice stab. It's very short, which I think is appreciated because of the difficulty of the boss fight, especially on your first couple of tries. So basically, isn't that basically what it is? It's basically there's a trial themed on each enemy, and then you have to get through it. And after you do that, you can get to the central artifact, which is what we've been looking for this whole map. And then we get the boss fight, and it's. I just don't care for it that much. I mean, I've come to like it more. You know, there was definitely a bit of mad 'cause bad in there for sure. But even having done it a few times, I'm still not overly keen on it. I don't despise it, but I'm just kind of like, it's okay, I guess.
Yeah.
Like, how would you describe it? It's basically like the first phase is basically lasers, isn't it? The central artifact fires like a laser, and it's gonna start like going around the map clockwise, and obviously you have to avoid it, sliding under it, and that sort of thing, hiding behind walls. Every time you do that, you get an opportunity to shoot it, and once you've done that, it will multiply, and you'll get more lasers in the field. It kind of feels like an exo-zombie sort of gimmick. Which, yeah. I mean,
I think that's what we likened this boss fight to, was it felt like an exo-zombies or a World War II boss fight.
Yeah, I would agree with that. The first part is okay, I guess. I don't have any strong feelings about the first part now that we've, once you've figured out how easy it is to cheese it, it becomes a bit of a breeze to get through. But the second half, oh god, it is really quite tough, but not quite in, like the fun, engaging way.
It picks up really quickly. Like after you kill the first zombie with the central artifact, it goes from like a steady 5 to straight up 10. Like it gets out of hand pretty quickly.
Yeah, in case you haven't done it, it's basically you have to kill each of one of the enemies that spawn in, and they'll have like the central artifact attached to them. But you'll also get fakes that have these like translucent ones, and you need to kill the one that's red. But obviously, during this point, like I don't think I described it earlier, you can if you destroy the central artifact before it focuses on these specific statues, you can destroy the enemies before they spawn. But during this phase, you can't. So you're constantly, as you're having to deal with this one particular zombie that is extremely dangerous, by the way. It's constantly spawning in about 4 double ghasts, 3 amalgams, some parasites, vermin, are all running around the arena. There's no way to stop them appearing. Yeah, there is no way to stop them appearing. But you gradually have to go from is it a zombie to a double ghast to a mimic and then an amalgam. And yeah, it's tough because, like I say, if this particular zombie hits you or boss, you get stunned, don't you? Briefly locked in place, and it also does immense amounts of damage. You could go down 2-3 hits, I think, from one of these guys. This is pre-patch, by the way. Obviously, by the time this goes up, this is before directed mode. This is back at launch. I don't know if it's been adjusted since we first tried it. But
and we only completed this a week ago as of recording.
Yeah, it took us a good few tries. Certainly more than any of the other Black Ops 6 ones have taken us. But we did get it, thankfully.
Yeah, you've done it twice now, haven't you?
3 times actually.
Oh, 3, blimey.
Yeah, I did it, like I say, with a friend last night in that public match. And I did have to use the alcoholic for it though, halfway through the boss fight, because it got a bit too hairy.
Oof.
I know we don't normally use these kinds of sections to talk like strategies and advice, but my recommendation would be to use the ASG for this one for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And solo is definitely easier, so I've heard. So
yeah,
maybe consider doing it solo if you're having a lot of trouble with it.
I mean, we'll see how different or how easy or hard director mode makes. I'll be interested to see what that's like.
Yeah, for sure. Like I say, we're also got to account for these new patches that are out now. So
that's true.
It could be rebalanced as well, so it's probably worth a go.
Yeah.
But beyond that, the last phase is basically just use idolize and shoot the artifact above the door, and that's it. The first step and the third step are really easy, provided you have the tools anyway.
Yeah.
But step 2 is a tough one. It definitely took us a few tries, and we were definitely a bit salty, I would say.
That's one way to put it.
That's why that's why I'm kind of glad that we've beaten it now, so we can look at it objectively and not through the lens of being stuck at a point where you haven't beaten it yet and you're kind of done with it.
Yeah. Just to kind of say, I think that's partly why this episode's probably coming out as late as it is, and also illnesses as well. So yeah, that's why we're a bit late on this episode. But yeah, I would agree. Like the Easter egg is not the strongest. I would agree with you. Like the actual bits up until I really like the trials, like you said. I'm not sure how I feel about the ice staff taking up like 50% of the Easter egg.
Yeah,
I've never
kind of worked. It kind of worked in Origins when it was like 1 or 4 wonder weapons that you had to do, but when it's only the 1, it kind of goes by like that.
Yeah, I mean, for me personally, I've never been a huge fan of where doing building or getting the wonder weapon takes up a significant portion of the Easter egg. That I'm at.
True.
Once I've built it, I'm at that point where I might as well do the Easter egg. I've never been a fan of that. I'd rather have the wonder weapon as a tool. But I don't have to jump through half the Easter egg just to get it. Like, if that makes sense.
I think the most offensive one of that was either Origins or Zetsuba, where you can't get upgraded KT4 until right at the end of the main Easter egg, pretty much.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I prefer things like Gorokrovi's or the Apothecon Servant from Shadows. Like it. Like I don't want to feel like I have to now complete the Easter egg. I know I don't have to, but like for me personally, like once I've got a wonder weapon where I've done most of the Easter egg, I'm like I'm at that point where I might as well finish it now. That's why I don't play Origins casually.
Yeah, you burn yourself out a bit, and you're like, it took me so much, resources and time to get this far, and now that you've done it, you're kind of like, I'm kind of burnt out, and I want to go do something else.
Yeah. My sentiments on the boss fight is pretty much the same as yours. I would say this is Treyarch's weakest boss fight, personally. You made the argument that Revelations was down there, which I will concede to, but I don't like this one. I think upon my many rants to you, like one of my main issues with this boss fight is that I don't like bosses that don't have any interaction with you, like with the Guardian.
Your ass.
Well, yeah, I know, but all it does is just float up and down and spin around. That's that, and then it relies on other bosses to do its work for it. I much prefer things
it actually does a wipe attack.
At the lot. I'll smack you so hard if I'm right next to you.
Okay, go on.
Such an asshole. Yeah.
Oh, God.
You've made me lost my train of thought here. Oh, yeah. Like the Guardian fight and Patient 13, like, they've got a bit more interaction and they actually do some of the fighting themselves rather than relying on on other
Yeah.
things. That it's a stationary object for most of it, really. Like, other than going up and down. Like, there's no interaction with it. It doesn't have a personality. It's got no kind of... And also, on a lore standpoint here... Oh, God, I sound like a right nerd now. When has the Sentinel artifact ever done anything like this? Like, there's absolutely no kind of...
Like precedent for it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, it's just... It's shit. That's all it is for me. It's a shit boss fight.
Like I said, I don't feel quite as negative about it now, but I totally understand your frustration. The first couple times
I don't want to be
I've never
about it.
I've never heard you turn heel on a boss fight as quickly as you did when we first finished that attempt. It wasn't even like it was the third time we tried it. It was literally the first time we gave it a proper go, or the second time, I guess. Because the first time we were on the first bit, weren't we? When we did it on 3-player. But yeah, like, I've never heard you turn heel so quickly on your opinion on the boss fight. Then when we got to that second phase the first time.
I mean, it's not as bad as, like, some of the World War II fights or the extra zombie fights. I mean, I certainly, this map in general does not make me feel nearly as miserable playing it as Carrier or Descent did. But
yeah, like,
in terms of Treyarch zombies, this boss fight leaves a lot to be desired for me.
It definitely, for me, doesn't hold a candle to the other two we've got so far. If you want to count Liberty Falls, I guess you could throw that in there. But
well, at least with Liberty Falls, the actual things came out fought themselves instead of relying on fucking other things to do it for them.
Yeah, that's true. It's like you say, like, going back to what you said real quick about bosses having presence. I think that's one of the best aspects of Infinite Warfare's final boss, Mephistopheles, where he's definitely like a present part of the boss fight.
Absolutely. And I remember saying this to you, I think it was probably after our first attempt at doing or second attempt probably, is that I wish instead of the Sentinel artifact, they brought back a Chaos mini boss, like maybe a buffed up Blightfather or a buffed up Geganese from Ancient Evil, and we fought that instead. Like, that would have made so much more sense, and it would have been so much more like thematically better as well, instead of just fighting a fucking artifact. Yeah,
like maybe they could have, I don't know, reused the eye or something from Voyage or something like that. I could have seen that working. Because do we know which version of the Sentinel artifact it is?
I don't think so. I know that in the outro cutscene it does mention about the other 4. I don't know if this one's a standalone one on its own though.
Right.
I haven't seen the others to kind of recently to kind of compare it, so I'm not quite sure.
Yeah. The only reason I went into the Voyage one is because it's probably the one that shares the most likeness with this boss fight, with the lasers. I could see that being a thing. If they chose to go, like, reusing the boss angle.
Yeah.
Alright, well...
I'm just having a look at it now. It probably looks closest to the Odin one, to be honest.
The Odin one, which one's that again?
That's Voyage's.
Voyage. Alright. I suppose that makes sense then, I guess.
Yeah, that's the one it looks closest to.
Alright. Okay. Alright, do you want to move on to the next bit then?
Yeah, let's just briefly go over, because we're running over an hour now, let's briefly go over some of the side Easter eggs, which are arguably better
well,
than
actually,
the Easter egg.
We didn't talk about the story implications.
Oh, sorry, the outro cutscene, yeah. What story implications?
I mean, we know a tiny bit, I guess. We're going back to Liberty Falls again.
And the
mansion this time, yeah. And I assume I'm assuming that's where the Liberty Falls cutscene took place. So we might actually. Yeah. So I'm kind of intrigued in where we're gonna go with. We're finally gonna get answers about Sam and the Forsaken, if he's even still there, all that sort of thing.
I'm calling it now. The wonder weapon in the next map is going to be the Wonder Wolf.
I'd hope not. I'd like another new one. But
It's going to be the Wonder Wolf. It's the one that was featured in the cutscene.
It's going to be, yeah. I'm just, I don't know. Like I said, I have my own issues about flagrant asset reuse.
He says after glazing the ice staff.
I didn't glaze it. When I first saw the picture for it, I was like, "Oh, we're doing this, are we?" And then I saw the mimic, and I was again like, "Oh, we're doing this again." Mm-hmm. No, I'm definitely not. I'm definitely not glazing asset reuse. Believe me, a lot of it's been asset reuse, like the jet gun, the abominations, the manglers.
Now, to be fair, the jet gun did deserve a glow up.
Yeah, I'm not going to complain about the jet gun. It was worth the upgrade. The ice staff is just the same, as much as I love it. Mm-hmm. Nothing's really changed there. It's still the exact same weapon.
Yeah.
I think. Yeah, I'd like to see some more new content. Like the doppelgasts were cool. The swords were cool. The beam smasher wasn't the best, but I appreciated it.
I know, based on the campaign, I know that we're going to be due the Disciple again at some point.
No, not
He's already in the game. It's going to happen.
I know. I just feel like we're going to look at zombies again in 10 years' time, in 2035, and we're going to still have Disciples. We're still going to have Mimics. We're going to have Doppelgasts.
Still probably going to have Manglers.
Probably going to have Manglers again, yeah.
That was 2015, 2016. They were introduced. They're nearly 10 years old now. Oh, are 10 years.
I mean, to be fair, you could argue... There is an argument for... how many times did we get dogs? How many times did we get jumping jacks?
About it. Not that many.
I suppose.
It was only really in Cold War that we started getting a lot of dogs, but up until then,
yeah.
Not that many.
That's fair.
I think I did a quiz on you, and they only really appeared in 6 maps.
Yeah, I suppose so. But I just, I miss the excitement of like Black Ops 1 and Black Ops 2, and that we'd be like every map you knew you were going to get something new that you hadn't seen before. Yeah. That's not the case anymore. Every time you can pretty much bet that you're going to get Doppelgasts, and I'm picking Doppelgasts out despite them being new. I know the irony of that. Yeah.
Amalgams or
the mimics.
I mean, my favorite my favorite map trailer was the Shangri-La one because it showcased so many new things in that, and I loved it. I don't get that with these anymore.
Yeah, it feels like a little bit like a checklist almost. Like, oh, we need an elite, we need a smaller boss.
I see the amalgam and my heart just sinks in the trailer.
Yeah, God, was it even in the Tomb trailer?
I appeared briefly in like the background.
And you're like, you should have just not shot.
yeah.
Yeah, there's no spoken dialogue from any of our this cast whatsoever. They kind of awkwardly reach for the Sentinel artifact.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it's extremely jarring that they don't speak. It was a very weird cutscene in my opinion. Like,
it was,
Just seeing there was absolutely nothing other than just Sam really speaking to us and talking about the Sentinel artifact, which I don't know. It just felt like that was stuff that could have been told within like a different map or something like that. I don't know.
Maybe it was. Maybe
it was just an odd cutscene.
Maybe it was cut dialogue and like a regular exchange in the map somewhere that they decided, you know what, we'll just use it here. Why not?
Possibly. I mean, if anything is a product of the issues going on with voice actors right now, this outro cutscene screams it.
Yeah, 100%. Like I say, we can only really hope that it's going to be something that'll be sorted out next time. I don't know if it's in the intel as well, but I want to know where Peck is. Is he dead? Like, don't even talk about him. Not in the third person. No one even mentions him. It's like he's just It's like it's just been Thanos snapped out of existence. He's just gone. It's true though, isn't it? He's just vanished. I don't know where he is. There must be in the intel. It has to be.
I'd hope so, because he had what? He didn't even have any lines. Ravenov had more lines than him.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know who's getting less love here, Peck or Carver.
That's true. Maybe they're in competition.
Maybe. Let's briefly go over some of the side Easter eggs. I thought they were really strong this time.
Yeah, there's certainly a lot of side content which I completely appreciate. And I liked how easy a lot of them were. There was quite a few that, like I say, we managed to figure out on our own actually, which isn't normally the case for side Easter eggs, like the free Pack-a-Punch crystal for shooting the rocks, the cryo freeze, the waterfalls one, the urns even. Well, we didn't figure that one out. You had to Google the locations for that one, didn't you?
Yeah, but I mean, that was 10 different urns,
Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of these seem to be aimed at setting you up or setting the player up. Like you said, the Pack-a-Punch crystal, the ether tool, free perk with the napalm burst, and the
jump scare one,
free self-res. Yeah, that was strange. We thought there was going to be something more to that, didn't we?
Yeah, because the fact that it's the only jump scare to my knowledge in zombies that you can activate more than once. So I was 100% certain that there was something you had to do in between the time before the jump scare itself pops up, but it doesn't appear like that's the case. We also kind of going into the realm of unsolved side Easter eggs potentially. Ether is apparently a part of this map somewhere, but we have no idea where to find it.
The song Ether, yeah.
Yeah. From Origins, we never played it. Yeah, apparently that's supposed to be present here somewhere according to the soundtrack. Either that or it's a Alcatraz situation for Blood of the Dead where it's just a bonus track, nothing else.
Yeah, I'll probably have a look into it a bit more. I will say the jump scare, this is the only time in zombies that's where a jump scare has actually worked on me.
Yeah, I remember.
And on multiple occasions. So
it's just because it nails that.
Due.
It nails that feeling of making it seem like something's right behind you all the time. It's that whispering. It puts you on edge. You're like, when is it going to come up? Because you know it will.
Exactly. It could happen at any point, and it's the moment you lower your guard, that's when it happens.
Exactly. Yeah, I think that makes it really effective. Actually, I hope they do that with future ones. Make it random when it triggers. So you're you get your guard down, and you're like, no, it's probably not going to happen. Oh, I missed it or something.
Yeah.
Going a bit off topic here, actually. What would you say is your favourite jump scare?
Not that I've ever done it, but I always liked the Zetsubo one with Clone.
Yeah, that's exactly where I was going with it.
It seems like, as I said, I haven't done it, but I have seen it. I think it's a really cool idea for Easter egg. No, I mean, a huge honourable mention is the Last Gen Richtofen one from Classified.
Oh, yes. Yeah, that one's quality. 10 out of 10.
I love it when developers know what the memes are.
Exactly, yeah. Can you imagine being someone who worked at, what was it called? What's the company called again? Who made that port?
Oh, yeah.
Like Beanox or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can imagine being that and making that version of the model and then watching the main studio take the piss at you for. God,
yeah,
that was so.
Just getting absolutely shit over.
Yeah, God. I'm just thinking of the Der Eisendrache version of the cutscene where Richtofen's walking with the summoning key and he's bobbing left and right. His pathing's all over the place, and his eyes are pitch black.
And the key is
happening?
Just going phasing through his hand. It's nothing. I mean, to be honest with you, if something from that studio, someone from that studio did see the piss take on Classified, they deserve it. Whoever greenlit that thought, yep, that's fine. Needs to have everything taken out of them.
I want to be ever the optimist and say it's a budget thing, but that entire part was such a such an insult to the Xbox 360 and the PS3.
Absolutely.
There is no way that version needed to be. Yeah, there's no reason that version needed to be butchered that badly to get to run on Xbox 360 and that. It was ludicrous. It was like offensively bad.
Yeah.
But it's a fun bit of history. I'm glad we have it.
Oh yeah, and I'm so glad it was immortalized in Black Ops 4.
Yeah.
the jump scare. Like, that's a canon jump scare now.
I remember when we did the quiz thing, actually, and I actually added that one to the list. I think we got most of them, though, didn't we?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wait, we missed one. The Blood Sacrifice.
Oh, yeah. So, the real winners of the side content are probably the free ray gun, but more importantly, the golden armor. Getting
yes.
Blood Sacrifice.
So if you never played Modern Warfare 3, it's basically ripped from that. But it recharges over, what was it, like 9 seconds or something?
I think it was like 20 seconds to get a full...
20 seconds?
Yeah.
Right, so it's 9 seconds per player or something.
It's probably 20 seconds for the full, like, three bits of armor. I'm not quite sure, but... Yeah, recharges your armor, which is clutch if you're doing the boss fight. Yeah,
for sure. I'd definitely recommend, if you ever end up doing it, taking an insta-kill. That's certainly made things a lot easier for us. It is very tough.
Yeah, we did
also keep a zombie.
Absolutely. We did a combination of certainly using insta-kill, but then we either used Idolize or you had Ether Shroud on, so that made like getting the golden armor so much easier.
It really did. If you're really pushing for the Easter egg and you really want to get it done, I recommend going through the effort to get the golden armor. I know people have like there is a bug, or there was a bug where you could use a kill streak or score streak, I suppose nowadays. To get one, but we weren't able to trigger it, were we? We had a bit of trouble getting that to work, and I don't know if with the new patch it'll be fixed. So probably worth not bothering with that.
Yeah, I mean, as long as you're pretty set up and ready for it, and perked out, like, it's pretty easy to get, to be honest with you. Even though it reduces your health down to 1, you do get quite a lot of leeway.
And you do have your armor, so it's not like you're immediately dead upon being hit. You just have to do it.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm saying.
Yeah. So you're not, like you say, you're not entirely on the back foot. But if you can get the glitch to work, it would certainly make life easier, I'd imagine. It's pretty cool. I'm glad. I'm sticking by what I said. This better be the Super Easter Egg reward if we have one. I want golden armor in every match.
It's not. I want golden armor.
I don't care. I've done everything at that point. I don't care. I don't care if it's broken.
There'd be no incentive for players to do the golden armor Easter egg on the team if they made it available straight at like 8.
That's true, but there's no incentive to do the like the free perk one if you get perkaholics. So there you go. Checkmate.
You can live in your delusional world, Josh. I'll be there to pick up the pieces.
But in all seriousness, no, they really should, because, like I say, once you've done all the Easter eggs, you've done everything. What does it matter if you have golden armor?
Absolutely, yeah.
It doesn't matter.
This goes into a little bit of what we're going to discuss about later. But for now, let's quickly move on to soundtrack and what you think of the offering this time around.
All right, yeah. So Dig. I wasn't too sure about it at first, but the more I've listened to it, I like it quite a bit now. It took a little while.
Yeah.
But the first time I heard it, I really wasn't sure about it, but it's grown on me quite a bit. It's definitely a bit heavier than the ones we've had previously for this game, but yeah,
it's sung by Matt Heffy. Sorry,
I think so. Yeah.
That's according to Kevin's video. Lyric videos. That's who it's by.
I guess was right from last time. It was Trivium.
Yeah. So again, I like that they got a different, like another guest singer for this. that's really been strong for this game.
I've got one thing I just wanted to touch on briefly is I love the production quality for the Easter egg songs this time. They feel so much higher quality than anything we've had before.
Certainly more
the
than
way
Cold War.
even the way that the instruments are recorded, they just sound really good in this game. The mixing is really top notch. I don't know what they've done, but I think the sound of it.
Yeah, I think it's the fact that Kevin and his team have had quite a bit of time to cook for this game.
Yeah, that's true. It's just going back to The Gift and something, and I'm like, God, this one's actually really quite tinny sounding at times, but it's going back and being and listening to the new stuff. I'm like, God, it sounds so much better. It sounds so much fuller.
I mean, the games are nearly 10 years apart. Let's be honest here. There's probably going to be a bit of audio difference.
I don't know though. It genuinely feels like there's more budget behind it. I don't know. But yeah, what were you gonna say? Sorry?
I was gonna say, I don't hate Dig. But I'm not a big screamo fan, so it's This feels very much like sorry.
I said totally fair.
Yeah, this feels very much like Coming Home from Black Ops 1 to me. It's not terrible. I don't hate it, but it's not my favourite.
That's
I appreciate it for what it is, and again, another guest singer. I'm all here for it.
Yeah, like I said to you outside of the podcast, I love the instrumental for it. I think it's great. The guitar parts are so good on this one.
Yeah.
Totally not partial.
And as per usual for this game, we've got another original soundtrack for it, don't we? I say original with a heavy asterisk on that.
I was gonna say this is the shortest album we've had so far. With God, I don't even have it open. Skim real quick.
14 songs, isn't it? 14,
yeah, something like that. And the majority of them are Origins tracks. With a couple of new ones.
I do notice there's a slight difference to them. They don't sound exactly the same. But yeah, honestly, it's quite nice to hear in game. Origins tracks playing.
Yeah, the fact that Death Bell came back is reason enough to play the tune. Death Bell is so
absolute banger.
If I was to go over it now, though, I really like the Mr. Peaks mix for Dig. That one's really quite fun.
You've been liking most of the Mr. Peaks mixes, though, haven't you?
Except for Destroy Something Beautiful, because that one didn't sound anything like the actual song. At least not to me, it didn't. I'd have to go and
I think the one outside of the Origins tracks, the one that stands out for me is Monolith, and that's the one that sounds like when Panos is talking when you first meet Panos in Liberty Falls.
Is this the one that plays before the Easter egg fight? When you
yes, I think so. Yeah, yeah, that's the one.
Right, yeah.
I don't know, something about that one just really tickles my brain, which I like.
Yeah, I did quite enjoy the boss fight theme. It's kind of very, withdrawn compared to the ones we've had previously, but I quite like it. It's quite like a chill one.
Because the boss isn't involved.
Say again.
It's because the boss itself isn't involved. That's why it's withdrawn.
That's true. Yeah. Can't argue with that.
I need some chips and vinegar with my salt right now.
No, you've got a fair point though. It was a bit of an obnoxious boss fight for sure. If I still hadn't done it, I'd probably be in the same boat.
Yeah.
Ugh. But yeah, I quite like that theme. The other ones I haven't really listened to, apart from the Origins ones, we kind of already knew what we were getting with the round change. I like the round change in this map quite a lot.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
It's very, pardon the pun, very ethereal sounding, and I like that about it.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of got like a spacey vibe to it, which I quite like. It's just very calming.
Absolutely.
Beyond that, though, there's the team theme, which is also part of the soundtrack, but I don't recognise it.
I'm
assuming it doesn't play again.
I was going to say, does that not play when you start the game?
What, the loading screen?
I don't know. Like, just in after the round change of the like when you load into the game.
Oh yeah, but
doesn't it just
sorry,
play
I can't hear a
background?
word over the Archibald. So
Oh, sorry.
I honestly don't know if it starts playing. I couldn't hear a thing over him. It probably does. I'll take your word for it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, in closing on that, the remastered Origins tracks, or remixes, I guess, are really good. They're really solid.
Yeah.
It's a very short album compared to the previous ones.
Absolutely. I remember you saying to me though that the Origins tracks in this map just make you want to go play Origins.
Yeah. I found that to be the case. Like I said, no, we'll get into it in closing thoughts.
Yeah. Just to kind of wrap things up, let's go talk about our last topic, which is other. And for this, I wanted to discuss. I know you and I out of recording this have spoken about this a little bit, but I wanted to kind of bring it to the fore here. And what are your thoughts on the mode now in general, and just the replayability of Black Ops 6 Zombies, and if it's in a healthy place? I want to get your kind of thoughts on that.
I don't know. It's like I have no problem admitting that I have an addiction to this game, and my how much I play it is not indicative of how much most people probably play it. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of hard to say because I always find something to come back to for replayability, but I appreciate that many people don't enjoy running around in circles for 30 rounds several times. And I can totally appreciate that doesn't do it for most people. In other words, I just need to find more games to play. But yeah, for me personally, the way I play it, I don't really have an issue with it. I feel like it's okay to get bored when you play something over and over again, you know? Like, I don't think that the game is in any worse a place than it usually is. Like, the Tomb is maybe a bit of a step down, but like I said, the map's still just kind of average, so I don't know. I guess it varies from person to person with the Tomb specifically, but the game overall, I don't know. I'm speaking, by the way, purely from a zombies perspective because I do not play multiplayer or Warzone, so I can't speak for those, obviously.
Yeah, I know that, or just hearing things on the grapevine, I know that multiplayer and Warzone are in a bit of a sorry state right now. They are hemorrhaging players, and people aren't happy with the gaming mode in general. So
I agree.
I know that for a fact.
Yeah, I've definitely heard that multiplayer's in a bit of a rough place at the minute, and because I always see people on Reddit and that always talking about how, especially multiplayer focused Reddits that are like, this game is dead and all this, that, the other, and I'm like, I honestly, for zombies, I'm okay with it, but I can't, like I say, multiplayer is a completely different kettle of fish. I don't know what's going on over there. And if their game is broken like that, then hopefully it does get fixed, because that's no good. That's definitely not in a healthy place for sure. And then if that is if it is as broken as people say it is, and then to slap these skins in as well that we've already talked about for 80 quid on top of a foundation that people are already kind of done with,
I think a lot of people are really annoyed that it seems like Call of Duty prioritizes at least the multiplayer and Warzone communities. They're really annoyed that Call of Duty seems to prioritise boosting up the marketplace and making sure that's running fine rather than focusing on the real issues.
It's funny you mention that, actually, because at least for me personally, the battle pass progression is totally broken. So I can at least attest to that.
Mm-hmm.
It just doesn't move anymore. So I'm just like, well, I hope they fix it before the season's finished, because otherwise I'm going to be out on my arse. Well, like, I'll be chesting them up though, I swear, if it doesn't get fixed.
Mm-hmm.
It's not that. You don't pay that like money and then end up getting shafted like that, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, you could argue that's my own fault for buying the battle pass. I know, I'm a sucker. Feel free to let me know.
You're part of the problem, Josh. No, I get that. No, that's fair. Yeah, I suppose you're in a bit more of an optimistic mindset on the mode in general and the replayability of the game than I am.
Yeah.
I mean, just speaking purely on zombies, I know outside of the issues of voice acting, I know that the mode is arguably in a much more stable place than it was a few years ago, or a few games ago, I should say. This certainly feels a lot more stable than Black Ops 4.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Not saying that Black Ops 4 is bad, but like I remember how unstable the community was around that.
Yeah.
So in terms of the actual health of the mode right now, of zombies right now, aside from like the issues of the multiplayerization of the game, I will get that right at some point.
It's an awkward phrase to say, to be fair.
It is. I would like to see a bit more, it to be a bit more uniquely zombies. And a distinction between the three modes, but this is kind of what is to be expected for the modern era of zombies. So I'm not butthurt about it, but like the general healthiness of the mode is probably in a very stable place. In terms of replayability, though, I think you and I differ quite a bit here, don't we?
Yeah, so my experience isn't exactly indicative of other people's. Like I say, I play the game way too much. To be brutally honest.
Yeah, I get that. I suppose, like, for me at least, I certainly can't do what you do and just play zombies for hours and hours on end, and I do get bored quite quickly. I can't remember the last time I actually played zombies casually. Like, when I say casually, I mean just doing high rounds and nothing else really.
Alright, that's fair.
And I think for me, it's when I say replayability, is I remember telling you a while back, like in previous games, you had, at least before the whole live service thing, which is a whole can of worms on its own. But before that, you had achievements whenever a new map pack released. And so you had had an incentive to go back and earn those achievements. Now I know that when live service launched in, was that Modern Warfare 2019? That's when we got live service games.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
I know that when that launched, you didn't get new achievements, but what you did get, at least in Cold War, I don't know about Vanguard, but whenever a new season dropped, you got new calling cards, which again, that was, while it wasn't an achievement, you got something to work for, and it gave you a chance to play the game differently or earn different things. But we don't even have calling cards that we can earn, like new calling cards that we can earn outside of the ones that you can get for doing the Easter egg. So once you've done the Easter egg in Black Ops 6 Zombies, there's not really anything to work for outside of camera grinding, and I just find that excruciatingly boring.
That's totally fair. Like I say, I don't, like, generally, like, once Double XP was finished, I didn't really touch it too much myself. I normally only really play it during Double XP these days. But yeah, no, I totally agree with the seasonal calling cards. I mean, we do technically have the prestige calling cards now,
but they're not.
Like you say, they're not the same. They're all available from the get-go, and if you've done them all in the first week somehow, you've got nothing left.
Yeah, exactly. Like, there's no like new seasonal ones that are like, and you can do those like prestige ones on the first two maps, like on Liberty Falls or Terminus. Like, there's absolutely no incentive to go back and play a particular map because there's nothing to work for on those maps.
Yeah, no, that's totally true.
Which I don't
like
know.
I say, for me personally, like Zombies is one of those casual games you play when you're like, you want to listen to something on YouTube or something like that. So that's generally what I play it for, and how I'm able to play it like as much as I do, because I'm not really putting 100% of myself into it. You know what I mean? You're kind of playing it on autopilot almost.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if that's just my undiagnosed ADHD, but I can't like be concentrating on YouTube and listening to that, and then like be trying to I have to concentrate on one thing fully. So that doesn't...
The problem with me, I think, is like I'm almost too absent-minded when I play. That's kind of what happens. I kind of go to autopilot. It must be all those years of playing Guitar Hero. Because I got the same with that, where you get to a point where you're just in the zone, and you're not thinking about it, you're just doing it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's kind of how I get with Zombies, and it makes it kind of easy to do that. To just put YouTube on and focus on that while playing. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, I'd love to hear what other people think on this particular point.
Exactly.
I know that. What was it? SGH was talking about on the comment on the previous video. Talking about how they weren't finding Black Ops 6 overly enjoyable right now.
Yeah, that's totally fair. Yeah, like there's definitely reasons to be disappointed with it at the minute. It's doing what COD always does. You know, the primary focus is clearly the marketplace. Above all else.
Yeah, and I wouldn't say
which is pointless when the game that you're using those skins in is not in the place you want it to be, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying the game is in a bad mode. As I said earlier, it feels like the mode is in a the mode is in a bad mode. I wouldn't say the mode is in a bad mode. It feels very much like the mode is in a stable place right now.
Yeah.
But outside of camo grinding, there's not really anything to earn. Which, I don't know, I like to be able... If I pick up a game, I like to be able to pick it up and know that I'm going to achieve something today. Other than just the monotony of camo grinding.
Like I said, maybe that's a me thing, because, like I said, the idea of spending an hour or two a day just playing it and just achieving nothing, but just having general enjoyment doesn't bother me at all.
Yeah,
I'm totally fine with that kind of approach.
Yeah, and that's an absolutely valid and fine approach to have. I'm certainly not going to take that away from you or anyone else who likes to do that. I just... It seems like, for those who've... I don't know. I don't know what I'm trying to say here.
We're arguing for there to be more to do in the game, so I think we all want that, really.
Absolutely,
you know what I mean? Regardless of what your stance on it is. You want more stuff to be able to unlock while playing, and more stuff to do.
Absolutely. And, one could also, use my argument and say there's absolutely no reason to go play the World at War maps or the Black Ops 1 or 2 maps after you get the achievements. And that's absolutely true. When you saying to me when we was originally speaking about this, when was the last time you and I went and played a World at War map? It's true. And I just think with these live service games, they could at least try and that's why I like going back to play Cold War, because I know that there's still some calling cards I could go back to.
Yeah, that's a good point. like you say, it's all about like the longevity of the content that they give you, and how long it's actually going to take you to do that. And like you say, it does feel like camo grinding has kind of taken that mantle in recent years, and that's all they put all their time into is knowing people will camo grind. And I know, I'm playing into it and making it more of an issue, but it's just one of those things that just, like I say, call it OCD if you want. It's just one of those things that get to me. But I assure you, once I've finished the camo grind for it, I will not be playing it anywhere near as much. It will probably fall like Cold War. I don't even really touch anymore because I've done it. So it's purely a camo grind thing for me, I think, personally. But like you said, once that's done, like the wheels kind of fall off a bit. Because you're like, oh, there's actually nothing to do. So if you don't enjoy the camo grind, you're probably not going to get too much out of zombies outside of the Easter eggs.
Yeah,
like you say, that's what we play for now, isn't it? Is we when we play together, we do Easter eggs every time because you just prefer to play it that way. And that's totally fine.
Absolutely, because I know I have fun with you. I like that when you and I play, like we actually go in there with something to do. And if I'm camo grinding along, I don't mind camo grinding if I'm doing something else alongside it, which is why I liked Cold War. But with this, when it's just purely camo grinding and I'm getting the same camos for the same gun, or like for different guns, and I'm doing it like there's no unique up until you get like the special camos, you are just getting 1,000 headshots or over 1,000 headshots every single time, and that is just dull.
Yeah,
that's just absolutely dull, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. Like, even like I say, if I was to look at it, you know, like at face value, there really isn't. It's really not all that exciting. But it's just you know, small goals to go for. I guess that's more how I look at it.
Yeah,
it's just more. Just small targets per map to go for.
Yeah,
and right. I know, like you said, like kind of what you said before. In a way, I suppose, like the whole going in and being like, you know, I'm gonna go in, I'm gonna level this gun up, and that's it. That's my goal for that particular match. So I guess in a way, I actually do engage with that. I suppose a little bit. But I also have no problem just playing for high rounds and using guns I've already leveled up, just because I just want to play with the ice staff or something, or you know, the jet gun or something like that.
Absolutely, and like that's, like I said earlier, that's the perfectly valid way to play. I mean, just as the way I play is a perfectly valuable way to play. For those who decide to go to rounds 1,000 or whatever, or speedrunners, again, totally valued ways to play. Like you play with how you go with what your playstyle suits. It's interesting to see the dichotomy of how different people play the game.
Exactly.
I think, as you said, I think for me, I would just like to see a bit more things to go for and achieve in Black Ops 6 other than just camos.
Yeah, like I think one of the things we spoke about was like World War II, where it had those operators you could unlock by doing certain challenges. That was really cool, and I would like to see that come back. But the sad thing is, I just don't see I don't think we'd ever get that again, because that would require them to put in the effort to make skins that you're not charging for.
I was gonna say, in this marketplace, free skins? I think not.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying, and stuff like that. Like, it goes back to the monetization thing about how it's just such a heavy focus of the game nowadays that it's just
But I think that's
it's like saying,
you carry on.
Even if they did something, you know, silly like they did with Black Ops 3, like, I don't know, add like hats or something to the tomb or something that you could unlock by doing stuff in game, so you had something to go for, or something like that. You know, like the God Mask and that in Revelations, just sort of things like that. Yeah. Maybe getting them unlocks you, like, I don't know, like a calling card or something. Just something like that, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, just like speaking about the whole marketplace thing, I think that's an industry-wide issue, is the excessive monetization. But I ranted and raved about that earlier, so we don't need to kind of go in more about that. Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like it's one of those topics that there's plenty to talk about with it.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I could rant and rave about it for a whole further 2 hours, but we're not going to do that.
Yeah.
We are nearing the 2 hour mark here, so do you want to wrap things up?
Yeah, I suppose so. Do you want to give out your closing thoughts on the team then?
Yeah, so...
And then we'll go into the outro.
Absolutely, that sounds good. Yeah, I would say the team is a mixed bag, kind of echoing what you were saying earlier.
Yeah.
It's probably mid at best. I mean, it's not a terrible map. It's not a great map though. There are elements of it, like the ice stuff, that are really fun. And I like the visuals and some of the nostalgic elements of Origins peeking through. The boss fight is easily the worst bit in it though. As well as the boss spam, but it's okay. It's okay. I wish it probably could have. It definitely needs. It feels like a rushed product, and I wish there was a bit more time in the oven to bake. Really.
I totally agree.
I would probably rate it as a out of 10, probably about 4.5, maybe even a 5.
Yeah, I would totally agree with that. I would probably put it around about the same range, honestly. Maybe... I don't know. It's so... rocking on that 5 that I'm really not sure about it.
Mm-hmm.
I want to give it higher. I want to give it higher, because there are parts of it that I do like. I want to give it a 6. But I just don't know if I could. I'm thinking of all the stuff in it that I don't like as much, some of the frustrations I had with it that we never got to speak about earlier, the fact that the ray gun is completely ineffective against the boss, but there's just no indication of that beforehand. So we went in doing this whole setup with the ray gun. I went in with a friend and did it, and found out the ray gun doesn't work on it. Just inexplicably. I don't know if that's true for the other fights. I don't think so. I know Patient 13 works with the ray gun, because I've used that before. It was just such a needless nerf for the ray gun, considering to give you a free one. That was baffling to me. I didn't like the fact that you could be punished by falling to your death by getting the puzzle wrong. I thought that was very out of left field. And they've never really done anything like that before, so it just kind of felt a bit awkward. I honestly thought it was a glitch when it first happened. There's that, and I encountered the glitch where you go into the dark ether, and during the boss fight loading thing, and you get stuck on the other side of the map, and you're not able to engage with the fight, leaving the other poor bastard trapped over there, having to do it on their own. So yeah, a lot of that really soured my mood with it, and that really stopped me from giving it higher than a 5. But on the positive side, like I said, I like the layout. I think the map generally, the Easter egg up till the boss fight is fun. I really quite enjoy doing that. There's a lot of side content to do. The gold armor's a really fun addition. There's, like I said, it's such a mixed bag. There's so much good stuff about it, and so much stuff that just isn't quite up to par. And unfortunately, it's one of those, instances where I wish a lot more studios would, take note of this. But the first impression is your most important one, because it's the one that's going to stick with you. And playing it when it was in that state, with the bugs and the ray gun thing and all that, it just immediately soured my mood with it. And it's something I haven't been able to, stuff with the boss fight as well, certain steps of it that I wasn't too fond of. It's just soured my mood on it. So I think I'd have to also give it a 5, to be honest. I don't think I could give it... I want to give it higher, but I don't think I could with a good conscience.
Yeah, I think the shortfalls definitely kind of weigh it down quite significantly. I mean, it's not like they even nitpick shortfalls, it's some of these are actually quite significant ones.
Yeah, there was a lot of bugs that we looked at in the patch notes, wasn't there, that we never actually encountered, which again could have been really obnoxious had we actually run into them.
Well, hopefully the next outing will be stronger.
Yeah, for sure.
My predictions still stand that we're going to get the Wonder Wolf as the Wonder Weapon. I should imagine we'll see our boy Blanchard again. I know he's a community favourite.
Oh, yeah. I'm trying to think of the quotes that they use for him. Gosh. They'll come back to me.
we will see. We will see.
All right.
Anything else you want to say?
No, I think that's it. I think we covered all of it. If you want to fire into the outro.
Yep, sure. So, next episode, we'll cover the third and final DLC for World at War, the Riese, an absolute fan favourite, this one. And probably...
Absolutely, yeah.
Arguably, like, most people's best map ever. So,
yeah.
We're looking forward to covering that, aren't we, pal?
Absolutely, yeah. Seems like our World at War ones have been doing quite well, actually. Which, like I say, I'm quite surprised by, considering there's such old maps, but I'm glad that there's still a community around for them. I
mean, the World at War maps are timeless, so you can't go wrong with them.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah. And that, as usual, please do the usual YouTube pleasantries, like, share, subscribe, you know the drill.
Absolutely, yeah.
And please contribute to the discussion. And
absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, I'll leave it to Josh to take the final word.
All right, if I haven't already, I feel like I'm kind of stealing your thunder a bit there.
No, you did. Take it away.
All right, so as usual, check out the Discord in the description. Again, still working to bring that up to speed again. I know I say that every time. Working on it. Ether compilation is very still in the works. Things have gotten a bit busy recently, so I haven't had the chance to work on that, but it will be coming out. And just want to know what your thoughts and opinions are on the Tomb and Black Ops 6 in general at this point, and maybe some of the stuff we talked about, like the skins and all that sort of thing. And yeah, I think we've taken enough of your time today.
Yeah, 2 hours.
Nearly 2 hours and 2 hours and 2 minutes, pretty much. So we will see you in the next one, hopefully, if we haven't scheduled off.
Sounds good.
All right. See ya.